Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it's time for breakfast with Blaha, and today I'm having fat-free Greek yogurt, frozen cherries, almond butter. It's probably going to be pretty consistent for a while. Alright, I had someone say, look, how in the world can you max out every week on at least 2 exercises and still do hypertrophy training? It's got to be garbage. There's no way you could have any intensity, any workload. That could only guys on a lot of gear who are genetically elite could be pulling that off. And I kind of laugh, because you guys do see what I do with my training. But that aside, I have tons of clients who do this. I have clients who are drug-free, who do put up elite numbers, who are big for a natty. All right, they're big for a natty, who they train this way just fine. They have no problems. One of the rules I do have, most of my natties do not ever do double maxes though. I don't generally program that for them. In other words, I do 1 press and 1 lower body lift for a max every week. They put up a lot of work. I mean, you guys see what my workloads look like. All right, you guys will see me do a squat and a deadlift, and then come in and hit heavy Romanian deadlifts for reps, heavy rep work on good mornings. All right, all my other posterior chain stuff, single leg exercises, whatever I'm doing, with a lot of tonnage. You guys see me do it. Of course, people would say, well, Jason, are you natty though? Well, I don't claim natty. But I have natty clients who have no problems with this. You guys have seen some of them. Mikey was one of them, and we used to put his vlogs up every single week. It's out of the rotation at the moment, but we had his vlogs up every week. Mikey was drug-free. And do you have problems with this? No. So people say, well, I don't get it. How? All right, the how is by regulating training volume and rotating maxes. Number 1, you adapt to it. When you first start doing this, yes, it will be hard. You'll get people who early on in their training, on their max effort days, right, when we first go to Conjugate, they are weaker afterwards, right? They max, if they miss a max, they are weaker, right? Their rep work is weaker. They can't put out as much workload till they get used to it, till they get into shape, get into better shape, and you adapt to the training, that goes away. In fact, here's what we find. Once you are used to it, it reverses. When you first start, the maxes fatigue you. The speed work doesn't. Right? People who are new to speed work, they have plenty of energy after the speed work. They just come in and they're stronger. They're stronger on their accessory work than they are on max effort day. Once you've been doing it a while and you learn how to do speed work correctly to where it really does fatigue you, it reverses the other direction. You will not have the same work capacity and strength on speed days sometimes. Max effort day, it gets easy. It's just not a big deal. You hit your max and you hit your other lifts and you're fine because you've adapted to maxing out, number 1. And you've learned to push more more force on the speed work, so it fatigues you more due to the volume of it. So these things flip-flop at that point. Okay. Other thing to think about, we're rotating maxes. We're not getting stale. When you are rotating max effort lifts every week, they do not accrue the same type of fatigue and overuse. It becomes much, much easier to not feel beat up afterwards. It feels much easier, particularly if we're rotating our deadlifts. Because heavy deadlifts will get you, especially a heavy pull off the floor with straight weight. All right? It's not a block pull, no bands, no chains. Those beat you up. But if we're rotating the lifts, the effect gets reduced of all this. It actually becomes easier to recover, as you have that to factor in. Number 2, we are having staggering the days. We have plenty of recovery time. If we're limiting the amount of maxing we're doing to 2 lifts a week for drug-free guys, and for enhanced guys, depending on how enhanced they are, 3, in some cases 4. But they're all done on just the 2 days. You have a full week to recover from those because we stagger it with the speed work. And again, this is why the 4-day-a-week maxes are problems. I have problems with it. I've messed with it. The only thing that went up was my squat. That's it. My other lifts didn't when I messed with it. Then I experimented with it, so I don't generally prescribe it to clients. We run an MEDE template. It gives you more time to recover from it. And we're recovering from taxing the body slightly differently. Again, because they're concurrent. As you get into better shape and you build work capacity, hey, that's the thing that people aren't factoring in either. If you hit a 1 rep max and then you can't come in and hit accessory work with the workloads that you should be able to, you're also out of shape. So as we get into better shape on this system, this improves. How do we get into shape? Well, by training with all the higher rep work after doing the other stuff, we condition ourselves to it. We adapt. We work on our GPP, our general physical preparedness. We get better at doing this. We get better at doing this. All right. What else do we do? We need to watch total volume. Watch your total volume. We know what volume ranges are optimal for hypertrophy. We know this already. It's 10 to 20 sets a week per muscle group. Usually split up into 2 workouts. In other words, you're probably doing between 6 and 10 sets per session per muscle because you're doing an upper lower. If you are doing that and sticking to just hard sets for that, and again, some things count as half sets. I count speed work as half sets. Right? If a muscle's a secondary mover, it's a half set for that muscle. If you stay within those guidelines and not try to exceed it, you'll be much better off, particularly if you stay in shape. Here's where you're going to run into problems when guys try to say, well, I want to start running really high training volumes after maxing. Right? They want to come in and do 14, 15 sets for muscle group. Bad programming. Right? The question came up of someone saying, well, without drugs, drug-free, this is a problem. Well, training like that is a problem, drug-free. Right? Why are you pushing junk volume? You're going to max and do junk volume? Well, that's your problem. If your programming is good, your volumes are good, you're rotating the lifts, you've adapted to it, and you're in shape, isn't a problem. It works just fine. And yes, your percentages of maxes on your supplemental lifts will be good once you do these things, not just rate of perceived exertion. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.